Hello and welcome to SDN Tech Forum. Today we are going to touch base on a new platform or a new tool called Nexus Dashboard Fabric Controller or NDFC, formerly known as DCNM. Within this video, we are going to understand what is NDFC, what are the different service component of NDFC, as you can see here in this picture, and then I'll show you the install and initial configuration of all-in-one or single node cluster. We will stop there after installing Fabric Controller as a service. And in next video, we are going to use that service, that is Fabric Controller capability, to configure an BGP EVPN VXLAN fabric. With that, let's understand what is Nexus Dashboard. And for that, we are going to rely on Cisco public documentation. You can see Cisco Nexus Dashboard. This is a data sheet. Why Nexus Dashboard? Because network infrastructure management is becoming more complex, diverse, distributed, because we have multiple configuration point and a humongous amount of data is generated every second. So how NDFC can help? NDFC provide a single focal point to unite the disparate network configuration and views of multiple switches and data center in one view. Nexus Dashboard is evolving to become one of the simplest way to provision, monitor, and manage data center network. So you can use it to provision, manage, and monitor as well. That's why we have more than one service component. And I'll let you read this. I'm just highlighting a few things so that it will be easier when you do the install. You understand essentially what you're doing. So Nexus Dashboard has two views. One is admin console, which inform the operator the health of various cluster, fabric, and infrastructure services to quickly detect issues and root cause. So think about this is like a monitoring and assurance of all your services or the fabric you deploy using those services. So this is your monitoring and assurance, and obviously the cluster management itself. That's why you can see admin console. And then you, based on the services, whatever services you are using, you can see the health of your fabric. From admin console, you have another view, which is a service view, and there are 4 or 5 different type of services today, as of today, and this list is growing, and that is called as network dashboard services. The first service what we are going to use is Fabric Controller. Fabric Controller bringing automation and monitoring of LAN, EVPN, VXLAN, and SAN fabric, and it is supported for Cisco Nexus, Cisco Catalyst, and ASR router. And this is the Fabric Controller view. Then the another services we have Nexus Dashboard Orchestrator, and this is typically for data center services or data center fabrics. Here you can see you can deploy Cisco ACI data center controller, you can render configuration and template, etc. And also it enables end-to-end change management workflows, centralized fabric management and upgrades, normalized segmentation, and security policy across data center, SD-WAN, and enterprise branch and campus network. So this is really powerful. The dashboard orchestrator, because it gives you a single point of control for all your segmentation need across multi-domain. This is something we will be exploring later in our journey. So that was the second service. The third service is Cisco Nexus Dashboard Insight, and as you can see, it is pretty evident that it allows operator to minimize downtime. How? By turning hardware and software telemetry into insight. So your fabric generates tons of hardware and software telemetry, and when you correlate those telemetry or those data point, it become an insight and help you troubleshoot or root cause an issue much faster. Then the last one is Other than inbuilt services, there are a lot of third-party application integration support is available. As you can see, we have REST API based third-party integration, and some of them are ServiceNow, ITSM, ITOM, Splunk, SIM, HashiCorp, Terraform, and Red Hat Ansible. So these are like a pretty common or industry known tools. All right, I'll let you read rest of the things on your own, and let's go and install the cluster. So for this, I'm going to use all in one cluster. You can have a distributed cluster, but for our small scale uh, deployment, we are going to use one single OVA or virtual machine, which will have all the services and admin console installed. So go ahead, download the NDFC software, and you can read through the hardware resource requirement or virtual machine resource requirement, allocate those virtual machines, and then go ahead and start your virtual machine. Once you start your virtual machine, you'll be landing in this view, system initialized successfully, and please wait for system to boot. Now, from here on, as it says 100%, UI will be online. So what you can do, you can actually go ahead and SSH to that IP address or HTTP to that IP address, and you will be presented this view, cluster bring up. Here, fill in all the information like your DNS server, NTP server, and give it a name and some advanced settings like what will be your service network and app network. And if you don't know these things uh, immediately, you can actually fill in some placeholder kind of thing. But obviously, DNS, DSCP, NTP, that is mandatory. Once you complete the configuration, you will be presented in this view, the step 2, node details. And here you can see the complete preview like Nexus Dashboard, node 1, node 2, and node 3. And it is all managed by management network, but we have only one network here or one VM which has all the nodes. If you want to edit something, you can click on a pencil icon and you can go ahead and edit. Like I'm just showing you how to edit things. Then you can see for data network, there are two type of network, management network and data network. Your fabric, the fabric which you are going to monitor or deploy must be reachable through one of these network. So for my data network, I'm putting 10.00/8, just a flat network, and the management is already defined. But pick a value which is suitable for your environment. So this is how you can edit. So we have done the configuration. This is a nice representation of what we configured. Then we are going to go to deployment mode. Here you can see we have services available. Do you want NDFC orchestrator, which is prevalent for data center management, or you want fabric controller, which is LAN and SAN fabric? I want fabric controller. So let's choose that. And here, nice summary, whatever you configured, whatever the deployment mode you have chosen, and save. As you can see, deployment mode cannot be changed upon saving. If you want to know more about deployment mode, you can read this inbuilt guide here, like what is my scale, what will be the integration services available, co-hosting, etc. and extras. All right, so now we are aware that what are the deployment mode. And as you can see, I cannot even choose orchestrator because I do not have sufficient resource, or I didn't size the VM for orchestrator. That's why I cannot choose orchestrator as well. But that's fine. Let's go ahead and do fabric controller. But what is this? I see a configuring cluster error because invalid data subnet count for management and data IP address does not match. Data IP is 0 and management IP is 1. So make sure that you have your management network and data network configured properly. Okay, so Nexus dashboard installation started. There are two phases of the installation. First is bootstrap, and then the second one is cluster deployment. And it gives you all the runtime summary, like bootstrap primary node completed successfully, and peer nodes completed successfully, how much time it took to do so. All those information is available. Started the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, bootstrap deployment is complete. Now it is doing cluster deployment, and it will deploy all the system services gradually. All right, our system services got installed, and I'm logged in to my Nexus dashboard using the IP address and the username and password we created initially during VM deployment. Here it is like a first time logging, which tells you about the different icon, uh, that what is a site, what are the switches, what is the Nexus dashboard nodes, like these are like a physical or virtual appliances forming a cluster. Then what are the different services, and we have discussed about the services during the beginning of this video. But here is a nice summary of what this NDFC tool is all about. So it's kind of like a tour, and what are the different services. We have Fabric Controller installed. It's a nice overview and how to interpret the information what you see on dashboard. So once you see the overview, you can click on this wrench icon to manage things, and we will be exploring that. Analyze, and this is the admin console what we talked about. And here you go, we are ready. As you can see, once you logged in, you are here in journey map, and you are, once you walk through the complete tour, you're 25% complete because that was the first step. Then you can do cluster bring up, add site, platform view, and you're all set. And we are still in admin console. As you can see, this is the first time. That's why we do not have any site available. So there is nothing to manage or monitor yet. So bring up. Once I click on that, that is completed because we have already configured all the management data network and management network IP addresses. So we are 50% complete. Now it is asking to add a site. Either you can add a site and start monitoring on day one, or you can use a service to deploy the site, and then the site will be available for management automatically. However, when you go to admin and nodes, these nodes are not your LAN or data center nodes, but these are cluster nodes or NDFC node itself. So the admin is strictly related to the NDFC cluster. You can create users, you can create login domains to manage the tool itself, NDFC tool itself. Right now we have only one user, admin. That's how we are logged in. But you can create a local user, or you can do SSO authentication. So there are a lot of things to explore. I'll encourage you, once you install, spend some time here at admin console, familiarize yourself with the different menu and submenu options. One of the interesting thing is you have intersite integration, and intersite, we have done a video about intersite earlier. Intersite can help you do monitoring and RMA kind of stuff because it is connected directly to Cisco services. So you can actually integrate your NDFC to Intersite, and Intersite in turn can monitor your cluster and uh, uh, give you notification if something goes wrong. Is monitoring monitoring the monitor here. You can use your software management. So we are running 311, and anytime when new software is available, you can use software management to update NDFC platform. So our overall system health looks good, cluster health is good, connectivity to interside, we didn't do anything, and fabric controller, everything is looking good because we have barely anything available here other than the cluster or this NDFC virtual machine itself. Now time to go to service called Fabric Controller. You can toggle that view or select from the drop-down Fabric Controller, and it will change the view or land you into Fabric Controller view. We have only one service here in this install, but you can have more than one service, so choose whichever service you want to use. So this is our Fabric Controller overview page. Again, here you can see we have made the Fabric Controller, that is like a tour to this services. Then you have service setup, and if you want to know about service setup, there are two: LAN and SAN, one for Nexus and IOSXC switches, another is for MDS switches. So we can say, go ahead and give me management, but you can see we have something error here. It says we don't have external service IPs on management pool. And what is a persistent service IP? Here you can read throughout that. So you have services, and each service will need one management and data port IP addresses, persistent service IP addresses. And how you can define that? You can define that going to admin console and system. So first you need to address this, then only you can go ahead and select whatever the capability or feature you want to enable. So I want to do some fabric management advanced, but I cannot proceed because we are running short on persistent service IP addresses. So let's go ahead and add a few IP address. I'm planning to use my management network to discover my fabric. Hence, I'm going to go ahead and add two more IP addresses there in the same subnet. It says required 2 and available 0. Okay, so you need to click on that. Now you can see we have required 2, available 1. Let's go ahead and add one more. So we have 2 available. This is looking good. You have enough persistent service IP. Now we are going to say next, and this is the nice summary. You can also enable other services, but I think Fabric Management Advanced, because it includes Fabric Builder and other good things, this is good enough for us. It has Fabric Builder, Endpoint Locator, and all those things. This is a nice summary of what we want to set up. Let's say submit. And the service is instantiating in the background. All done. You have completed your service setup. Please wait for a few minutes for services to be completely initialized, because behind the scene, these are all Kubernetes pods. So we have our service setup done. 2 out of 2 steps completed. That means our service is ready to go, or you can start consuming your services. You can always go back to admin console. Here being here in Fabric Analyzer, now you can see we have more options coming on, not just overview and admin, but now we have manage and analyze, because we have installed the service, and as services are in coming up, you'll see more and more option here. So we need manage for sure, because we want to use Fabric Controller service to deploy our fabric. And here, as you can see under manage, we have few pre-built template. So these are some pre-built template that you can use, because as you can see, we have Easy Fabric IOSXC, and it says Campus VXLAN EVPN. And so if you're using IOSXC and Catalyst 9K, probably this is the best template you should use. But there are variety of templates available. So if you don't know where to start, go through the description of the template and you will probably find a closest match to the fabric you want to install. You can either create a new template, you can edit a template, delete a template. On all these templates coming in as built-in as a part of service or the feature install. As we have many template, you can also filter based on tags. So you can say, I want to build a campus fabric. So tag contains campus, and this is the fabric I just alluded to a little bit earlier, easy fabric iOS XC. You can even import your template. If you have a template, you can import your own template. So right now, as you can see, there is no fabric health because there is essentially no fabric created. We can go ahead and create a fabric, give fabric a name, MCS Site 1 EVPN Campus, then choose a fabric. What kind of fabric you want to create? You want to create Campus VXLAN EVPN fabric because we have Cat9K switches. Go ahead, select that. And this is loading fabric parameter from the template what we just discussed. So this is how you can get started with your fabric creation. You need to put in all the variable information here. Some are mandatory, some are best practices. So all this part and parcel of the template. We will stop here. We are not going to deploy any fabric today. We'll be doing it in next video. But I hope you understand what is Nexus Dashboard, what are the different services, and what is the um, power or USP of NDFC. And you will see more of that in play when we go ahead and build our own fabric in next video. So thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe, and share. Spread the word. Thank you.